So time series analysis, I already told you some of the basics of the time series in last lecture. So time series is an arrangement of statistical data in a chronological order. Order means in according to the time of occurrence. Okay, like the population in the year-wise population. If you will just count the year-wise population, so you can represent the year-wise population on a graph. So it will show you a data or the trend according to the time. So according to the La Yun Chow, a time series may be defined as a collection of the readings belonging to the different time periods of some economic variable. The economic variable may be the sales, economic variable may be the demand, economic variable may be the profit, economic variable may be the GDP, economic variable may be the growth rate, or composite of the variables, or the mixing up of all the variables. So mathematically, a time series is defined as the functional relationship y is equal to f into t. So functional relationship of the time. So y is the value of the phenomenon or the variable. This is the variable is equal to the function of the time. So importance of the time series in the business and commerce. What is the importance? First of all, it also helpful in the, we can say, the economics, business and the commerce, to determine the price, production and consumption of the various commodities, agriculture, industrial production, national income and foreign exchange reserves, investment, sales and the profit of the business houses, bank deposits and bank clearings, pricing and the dividends of the shares in stock exchange market, all time series spread over a long period of time. So first of all, it is helpful for in this. Second, the time series have an important and significant place in the business and economics, and basically most of the statistical techniques for the analysis of the time series data have been developed by the economy. So it is also used in the various statistical method or statistical tools. It is used as a statistical tool to analyze the data. So however, the techniques can also be applied for the study of the behavior. It can also be helpful for to behavior of any phenomenon collected chronological over a period of time in any discipline relating to the natural or the social sciences, though not directly relating to the economics or the business. It also helpful for the social sciences studies or the humanities studies, like to know the behavior or pattern of a person, change attitude towards the time. According to time, the behavior, the perception, the learning also been changed. So it also helpful to know the behavior of the social study, the behavior, to know the behavior and the psychological phenomenon of the person, and also helpful for the natural and the social sciences also, as well as the humanities discipline. So what is the objective of the time series analysis? First of all, it helpful and enables to study the behavior of the phenomena under the consideration to determine the type of the nature of the variation in the data. It is also helpful to know the behavior of the any particular object or the person or the individual or the group. Its segregation and study the various components of the paramount importance of the businessman in the planning of the future operation and in the formulation of the executive and the policy. It also helpful for the planning for the businessman, also helpful for the future forecasting, also helpful for the policy decision for the entrepreneur or the businessman. It helps to compare the actual current performance or the accomplishments with the expected ones on the basis of the past performance and analyze the cause of such variation, if any. So it compare the actual. We can also compare the actual performance with the accomplished by draw a trend line. What is the change and what is the change in the future or in the present on the basis of the historical. What will be the performance in the historical or the past data, and what will be the performance in the future. So we can compare whatever we have expected, whatever we have forecasted about the future on the basis of the time series. then we can compare whether that we have expected and estimated that it meet the requirements, meet the objectives or not. It also enables us to predict, it also helps in the prediction or to estimate, or we can say forecast the behavior of the phenomenon in the future, which is very essential for a business planning. So we can also determine whether the demand of the product will increase in future or not on the basis of the historical or past data, whether the sales will increasing or not, what type the customer and consumer behavior, what are the customer demands are increasing, and how much the profit will be generated in the near future. So it depends on the historical data of the time series. So we can predict on the basis of the historical data. It helps us to compare the change in the value of the different phenomenon at the different times or the place. How the value are changing according to time and the different places. So the time series analysis consists of the first of all identifying the determining the various forces. First of all, we identify and determining the various forces or influence whose interaction produce the variation. What is the region of variation between the data and between the variables? And second, isolating. First of all, isolate the different categories, the study, then we will analyze and then measuring them independently. हर एक step को we study the independently each and every steps in the time series by holding other things constant. So we can keep all the other things constant and we will study one thing at the one time independently. So what are the components? So I already told you the what are the various components. So the components of time series secular trend, which is denoted by the T. Then this is the periodical movement, or we can the short term, or it is the long term. Short term fluctuation are the seasonal variation and the cyclical. It is denoted with the S and denoted with the C. And random or the irregular variation, which denoted with the I or the R. So these are the some components of the time series analysis. So when there is a seasonal variation, because in specific season you can see the demand of the various product increasing on the Deepavali, Holi and another season, the demand of the very sweets and clothes and the jewelry will increase. So it and cyclical is the stage where if any changes with starting or any value starting from a stage, so it again repeating on the from the same stages and passes through the same phases which is already passed in the previous one. Like that, there is a stage of introductory. If the product introductory market in the market, this is the introductory stage. Then we can say the growth stage. Then it will be maturity stage. After maturity stage, it will start declining. So this is declining stage. Again, after declining in introduction of the new product, then growth stage, then maturity stage, then decline. So it is the cyclical variation. So it will passes that from the different phases again and again. That is the cyclical. And trend will show the a trend line like that. It will show the trend line. So we will draw a trend line in between of the all the values of the given values of the time series. So it shows a trend, or we can the best fit line which passes the different points. So these are the some models of the time series analysis. First model is the additive model. Additive model are, or we can also say the decomposition by the additive hypothesis. So according to additive model, the time series can be expressed as, this is denoted by the time series equal to, when we will add all the components, it is called as additive model, like the trend, then seasonal, then cyclical, then irregular. Then multiplicative model, or we can say the decomposition by the multiplicative hypothesis. So in that, keeping the above points, we can multiply all the components, then it is called the multiplicative. Trend multiply by seasonal, multiply by cyclical, multiply by irregular variations of the time series. Then what is the implication and limitation of the additive model? So this implies that the trend, however fast or slow, it may be or has no effect on the seasonal and cyclical components, nor do seasonal swings have any impact on the cyclical variation, and conversely. So all the variables, all the components are independent. So it not impact the another variations like that. Whether the trend is fast and slow, it is no relationship and no impact on the seasonal and the cyclical, or either the cyclical, the seasonal swings. If some seasons or seasonal swings comes in between the a whole year or between a particular month, when there is a particular season of the any festival, so it will not impact any cyclical variation. Cyclical variation will be go through according to their phases, according to their stages. So however, this assumption is not true in most of the economic and business time series, where the four components of the time series are not independent of each other. So in that, all the four components not even the trend also not depend on the any another components. So this assumption is not true in all the cases. For instance, the seasonal or cyclical variation may virtually be wiped off by very sharp rising or declining trend. Either, for example, a very decline, or we can say the very sharp rising, a very sharp rising, or we can say the very sharp declining of the trend. So seasonal cyclical may be virtually be wiped up. So in that case, it will be automatically be eliminated. Both the trend will be eliminated if there is a sudden fall in the demand or the sales, or the sudden increasing in the demand. So in that, both the variation will be missing. So we cannot find that these both type of the variation in that case. Similarly, strong and powerful seasonal swings. If there is a powerful seasonal swings may intensify or even participate a change in the cyclical fluctuation. So if there is strong demand or very strong demand of particular products in a particular season, कि more than expected, सब कुछ रिकॉर्ड तोड़ के रख दी, इस तरह का अगर एकदम से चेंज, एकदम से बूम आता है एक पर्टिकुलर सीजन में, बहुत ज़्यादा एकदम से सेल्स बढ़ जाती है, रेवेन्यू बढ़ जाता है, एकदम से डिमांड बढ़ जाती है, एकदम से सेल्स प्रॉफिट सब कुछ बढ़ जाता है, एकदम से डिमांड बिल्कुल हाई एक पर्टिकुलर सीजन पे, तो उस केस में क्या होता है कि हमारा सीजन साइक्लिकल फ्लक्चुएशन है वो भी इफेक्ट हो जाता है. इट ऑल्सो इफेक्ट द साइक्लिकल फ्लक्चुएशन if there is strong and powerful seasonal swings. Mixed model. In the mixed model, we can multiply like that. We can multiply all three and then add this. We can multiply both, plus we can multiply seasonal plus irregular. So these are the multiplicative mixed model, where the multiplicative and additive model both are present in that. So how we can measure? These are the some methods, or we can say the measurement of the trend analysis. Okay, how we can find the trend for the time series analysis. So you can see there is a graphical or freehand or curve fitting method, method of semi-average, and method of the curve fitting by the principle of least squares, then method of the moving average. So in that, first of all, the graphic of the freehand curve, in that we can just plot the data on the graph and we can draw the line from the freehand like that. The value is given like 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005. Five, 10, 2, 15, 7. So you can see here there is a year, you can write the year 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005 like that, and here you can write the 5, 10 and 15. So you can plot the data like that. 2001 there is a 5, then 2002 the value is a 10, then 2003 it's a 2 like here. 2004 it's 15, and 2005 it is 7, like that. So this trend will be become like that. So this is the freehand methods. We can just draw the graph by the given values in the examples. So this is the simplest and the most flexible method of estimating the secular trend. So you can estimate a secular, firstly it increase then decrease, then increase very sharply and then decrease. So the merits, it is very simple and time saving method and does not require any mathematical calculations. It is very flexible method in the sense that it can be used to describe all types of the trend, linear as well as the non-linear. Demerit, the strongest objection to this method is that it is highly subjective in nature. So it is subjective, there is nothing will be objective. So it is subjective in nature. It does not help to measure the trend. What is the value of trend? It does not provide the value of trend. So it will be dangerous to use it for forecasting. So we cannot forecast by using this or making predictions because it will not provide the exact value. These are the some merits and demerits of the graphic curve or freehand curve fitting method. Then method of the semi-averages. So in the method of the semi-averages, for example, if we are given the time series value of the 10 years from 1985 to 1994, then the two equal parts will be the data corresponding to the periods 1985 to 1989 and 1992 92. So we have divided the whole the data in the 5 years. यहाँ तक क्या हो गए, ये हमारे पास 5 years हो गए and 5 years ये हो गए. So we have divided the whole series in the two equal parts, 5 years and 5 years. So same here you can say this is the semi-average, means semi-average we have to calculate the semi-averages. Like the period is given here, so we have to add all the value 1990 80 85 की जो value plus values of the 1986, then 1987, then 1988, then 1999, then divide by 5. The total number of years is 5, then 5. So it will be the middle of the time period will be 1987. तो मिडल क्या होगा ईयर का 1987, एक मिडल ईयर होगा. इसका मिडल ईयर क्या होगा 1992, बीच का जो ईयर है 1992 होगा. तो इसकी वैल्यू भी हम ऐड करके हम मिडल ईयर इसका निकाल सकते हैं. तो 1992 के सामने हम प्लॉट कर देंगे वैल्यू जो भी होगी, और इसकी जो वैल्यू एवरेज आएगी वो हम किसके सामने करेंगे 1980 के सामने जो भी वैल्यू आएगी उसको प्लॉट करेंगे, और जो 19 इसको कैलकुलेट करके जो एवरेज वैल्यू आएगी उसको 1992 के सामने प्लॉट करेंगे. इन दोनों वैल्यूज को हम बिंदु को जो भी पॉइंट होंगे उनको मैच कर देंगे. वो हमारी क्या आएगी सेमी एवरेज मेथड से हमारी ट्रेंड लाइन आ जाएगी. So what is the merits of and demerits of this method? The merits are that objectivity. First is the objectivity. So objectivity in the sense that it does not depend on the personal judgment. It not depend on the personal judgment, and everyone who uses this method gets the same trend line and hence the same trend values. तो सेम तरह की ट्रेंड लाइन कोई भी यूज करेगा, सेम तरह की ट्रेंड लाइन और सेम तरह की वैल्यूज आएंगी इसमें. ये नहीं कि डिफरेंट कोई सेम क्वेश्चन को कोई अलग अलग सोल्व करेगा तो अलग अलग वैल्यू आएगी. नो, it is very understand and apply as compared with the moving average or the least square method or measuring trend. It is easy to understand and apply as compared with the moving average. So this line can be extended both ways to obtain future or the past estimate. From this we can estimate future as well as the past. And if we will talk about the limitations or demerits, this method assumes the presence of linear trend in the time series values which may not be exist. So it provides a trend line by meeting the 2 points. So it not maybe exist, but we will providing the, and we are draw a trend line by pointing, by meeting the 2 points. So which may not be exist, but it show the trend line. The use of arithmetic mean or obtaining semi-average may also be questioned because of its limitations. Because there are some also limitation of arithmetic mean. So we told, so these are the some limitations. So this example is given like that. The values of the 6 years is given here. And if the actual figure of the scale इफ द एक्चुअल फिगर ऑफ, इन्होंने कहा अगर सेल्स 2000 में अगर 35,000 यूनिट हैं सेल, तो हाउ डू यू अकाउंट फॉर द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द फिगर्स यू ऑब्टेन एंड द एक्चुअल फिगर गिवन टू यू. तो हमें कंपेयर करना है कि हम 35,000 यूनिट है 2000 में होंगी या नहीं, तो एक फिगर हमें निकाल के देना. तो देखो इसमें नंबर ऑफ ऑब्जर्वेशन कितनी है, 6 है. 1 2 3 4 5 6 टोटल ईयर कितने 6, तो एन कितना हमारे पास यहाँ पे 6 है. ठीक है, इवन नंबर है तो हैंस द 2 पार्ट्स विल बी, अगर इवन नंबर है तो 2 पार्ट्स क्या हो जाएंगे हमारे, एक 93 से 95 हो जाएगा और दूसरा पार्ट हमारा हो जाएगा 96 से 98. तो 2 पार्ट हो गए. हमें सेमी एवरेज में तो 2 में डिवाइड करना पड़ेगा हमें, तो 2 पार्ट में डिवाइड करोगे तो इसमें इनकी एवरेज निकालो. When we calculated the semi average of all the 3 years, then it will be 20 plus 24 plus 22 divided by 3. So it will be 66. And average of that divided by 3. It will be 90. Now total 66 and this is a 90. Total of that. Then we will make the average. It will be 22 in front of the 1994, in front of the 1994, and 30 in front of the 1997. So we have to be put the values in front of the 1994, 22, in 1994 we have to put here the 24 value. (1994). 1993 में वैल्यू कितनी हमारी 20 है, तो वी हैव टू प्लॉट द ऑल वैल्यूज एंड इन फ्रंट ऑफ द 1997 में क्या वैल्यू है हमारी 30. सो वी हैव टू पुट द वैल्यूज हियर. में 30 है, इन फ्रंट ऑफ 28 है, बट जो एवरेज है वो 30 आएगा इसमें. 1997 में हमारी जो वैल्यूज हैं वो 27 है, बट जो एवरेज है वो हमारा 30 है. ठीक है, और ये हमारा एवरेज 1994 में कितना है, 1994 में 22 ये है. तो एक ट्रेंड लाइन निकाल के हम ये ट्रेंड लाइन निकालेंगे, दोनों एवरेज को हम मैच कर देंगे, ये हमारी ट्रेंड लाइन होगी. तो इस तरह से हम सेमी एवरेज मेथड से हम ट्रेंड लाइन को हम ड्रॉ करेंगे. फिर हमारा थर्ड मेथड आता है मेथड ऑफ द कर्व फिटिंग बाय द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ लीस्ट स्क्वायर. सो इस मेथड को हम कल करेंगे.